US President Donald Trump signing a proclamation at the Oval Office in the White House. This signature sent thousands of H1-B visa holders and all those aspiring for the American dream on a mad scramble. The new H1-B visa fee imposed by the Trump administration is now more than 60 times what is currently charged. Yes, you heard it right, more than 60 times. While currently it ranges from about $2,000 to $5,000 depending on employer size and other costs, it's been raised to $100,000, that comes to 88 lakh Indian rupees.
So who all will it impact? How will those US-based companies that are required to pay the visa fee to the US government be impacted? What about the future of current and upcoming visa holders? And how will India, that sends the largest number of H1-B visa holders to the US, be impacted? Let's connect the dots.
Here's White House Press Secretary explaining the intent of Trump's decision.
What this proclamation will do is raise the fee that companies pay to sponsor H1-B applicants to $100,000. This will ensure that the people they're bringing in are actually very highly skilled and that they're not replaceable by American workers. So it'll protect American workers, but ensure that companies have a pathway to hire truly extraordinary people and bring them to the United States.
Donald Trump sees it as an opening to hire more Americans in the US.
And one of the biggest problems we have is that people, they go to the best schools and they do great and they get great marks and then they're thrown out of the country. You're not allowed to stay. This way a corporation will be able, sort of like a signing bonus in baseball or football, a corporation will be able to get them to stay in the country.
Trump even claims that American technology companies would be happy with his decision.
You're very close to the technology
Yeah.
CEOs. Are they concerned about that?
I think they're going to be very happy. Everyone's going to be happy. And we're going to be able to keep people in our country that are going to be very productive people. And in many cases, these companies are going to pay a lot of money for that. And they're very happy about it.
Since the original language in the proclamation suggested that the fee would apply immediately to H1-B workers currently outside the US, and US Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick had called it an annual fee at this press conference.
Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H-1B visas.
There was utter panic. US work visa holders already in India scrambled to get tickets back to the US to beat the deadline. And as per social media accounts, some people, mostly Indians, even tried to frantically, though unsuccessfully, deboard at American airports. The government of India weighed in with this statement that pointed to the humanitarian consequences of such a measure in view of the disruption it caused for families. India's leading trade body, NASSCOM, said the steep visa fee could potentially trigger ripple effects across America's innovation ecosystem and its jobs economy. Soon, White House spokesperson and the US Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, came up with important clarifications. That it won't be an annual fee, that it will be a one-time fee that will be levied per petition, that it won't apply to existing visa holders re-entering the US, and that it would only apply in the next H1-B lottery round and not to current visa holders or renewals.
So was there a rethink on the part of the Trump administration? The general view is that litigation threat and pushback from corporate America forced the Trump administration to partially roll back its stance.
MAGA hardliners fumed over the clarifications with taunts of taco or Trump always chickens out. They claimed that by leaving out existing visas, the US president had chosen big tech over American workers. Remember, immigration is one of the most polarizing political issues in the US. So the clarifications translate to relief for current H1-B employees, but they also signal a blow to future hiring, especially of fresh graduates from US universities or in fields such as research. Remember, filing of H1-B cap visas is seasonal. The registration window opens in March, the lottery is conducted shortly after that, and USCIS begins accepting cap applications in April. Though Leavitt's statement did not mention cap-exempt employers, that is universities, non-profit entities affiliated with universities, non-profit research organizations, and governmental research institutions, all of whom are exempt from the statutory annual cap of $85,000, the new fee will also apply to them.
So what is the H1-B visa program? The H1B visa program is a US non-immigrant work visa that enables American employers to temporarily hire foreign workers in specialty occupations requiring specialized knowledge and at least a bachelor's degree or equivalent in a specific field. Most H1B visas are given to workers in the technology sector, especially those in computer-related and STEM occupations. Employers are able to sponsor professionals to get them into the country with a job offer required for the application. The initial period granted for an H1B visa is 3 years. Extensions are typically possible for an additional 3 years, making the maximum standard duration 6 years in total. Some exceptions may extend the stay beyond 6 years, particularly if the visa holder is in the process of obtaining a green card or is working on certain Department of Defense projects. After 6 years, the individual generally must spend at least 1 year outside the US before becoming eligible for another H1B period unless qualifying for specific exceptions.
This framework allows skilled international professionals to work in the US while providing a pathway, though not a guarantee, towards permanent residency if they meet further eligibility criteria. According to government statistics, the greatest beneficiary of the program the previous fiscal year was Amazon, followed by tech giants Tata, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, and Google. Critics of the H1B program, including many US technology workers, argue that it allows firms to suppress wages and sideline Americans who could do the jobs. Supporters, including Tesla CEO and former Trump ally Elon Musk, say it brings in highly skilled workers essential to filling talent gaps and keeping firms competitive. Now, here's how analysts feel Trump's decision will impact the US.
And I think it's a net negative for the US, losing all this talent, both education talent, students and scholars that are coming in, but then also research scientists who are working particularly in technology, that the US is not going to be able to hang on to them. And this isn't just Chinese. I mean, this is all over the place as well. So, yeah, I think you're going to see a long-term impact. It's not going to be something that happens in the next year. But over a number of years, I think you are going to see a negative impact in the US and a net positive for China.
Trump's decision is expected to trigger a sharper wave of offshoring by global IT firms. Many Indian IT firms in the US have already reduced their reliance on H1B visas to well below 50%. They're hiring more locally in the US, investing in automation, and building stronger offshore and nearshore delivery models. Like TCS employs over 46,000 employees in North America, Infosys has over 34,000 professionals in the Americas, and HCL Tech has over 23,000 in the US. We must note here that the Indian tech industry's contributions to the US economy remain significant. In 2021, by supporting American enterprises, Indian IT firms indirectly generated a total of $396 billion in US sales output, supported 1.6 million jobs, and contributed more than $198 billion to the US economy.
So how are Indians impacted by Trump's decision? People born in India are the largest beneficiaries of the H1B program. H1B visas had become a key way for several Indians to gain long-term employment opportunities in the US, which paid much better than jobs in India did.
Indians account for more than 70% of all H1B petitions approved each year since 2015. Indian professionals stand out among immigrant groups, and as leaders of corporate America, some of the biggest US giants like Alphabet, Microsoft, Adobe, IBM, YouTube, Palo Alto Networks, and Google Cloud are helmed by Indians. People born in China come a distant second, hovering at the 12 to 13% mark since 2018.
So Indians would be the hardest hit. Well-meaning interlocutors who have worked to build bridges between the two countries warn that disrupting the H1B pathway could be more harmful for the United States than to India in the long run. For instance, the new fee could decimate United States health care because 1 in 4 medical residents and physicians in the US are international graduates who often work in underserved communities in rural America. Indians residing in India see the decision as a means to reverse brain drain.
It's a big hit for the tech talent, but also on the other side, I think it will be good for India because it could be a reverse brain drain in the where people can work here and do something better for India.
If H1B visa professionals choose to return to India, it would mean deep domain expertise, strong global networks, and the know-how to scale firms to the next phase of growth coming to India. The H1-B squeeze could also expand the ground for Global Capability Centers or GCCs. If companies cannot get Indians to work in the US because of the prohibitive costs, the companies may look to work in India through GCCs. More than 2,600 GCCs are already operating in India, and this number could increase. So Trump's new visa fee may act as a short-term political lever, but its long-term effects could undermine US competitiveness while accelerating India's role as a global hub for technology, talent, and innovation.
So what should the government of India do now? This is what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said at a rally in Gujarat's Bhavnagar.
100 दुखों की एक ही दवाई है और वो है आत्मनिर्भर भारत। आत्मनिर्भर भारत। लेकिन इसके लिए हमें चुनौतियों से टकराना होगा। हमें दूसरे देशों पर अपनी निर्भरता लगातार कम करते जाना होगा।
Big names in the Indian tech sector suggest that the Indian government should seize this moment. Its best response to Trump would be creating a big fund to channel investments into deep tech, supporting entrepreneurs, and reforming government procurement to support buying Indian tech products.
So Trump's steep visa fee could be India's chance to step forward and dominate tech delivery globally. India's southern state of Kerala is on high alert. The reason is a deadly brain infection known as primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, or PAM for short. And this deadly infection is caused by an organism called Naegleria fowleri, which is better known as the brain-eating amoeba. Kerala is witnessing a huge surge in brain-eating amoeba cases. This year alone, Kerala has reported more than 70 cases. And 19 people, including children, have died from the disease this year itself. The death toll is already double that of last year. And the most concerning part is, there is no single effective treatment available for the disease. Doctors point out that PAM has an extremely high death rate, more than 97%. The only plus side is that the disease is non-communicable. It means the disease does not spread from one person to another. Another good thing is brain-eating amoeba cannot survive in salt water, making the sea a risk-free zone. So what exactly is PAM? PAM is caused by Naegleria fowleri, a free-living amoeba. It is a tiny, single-celled organism that lives in warm fresh water like lakes, rivers, ponds, and poorly maintained swimming pools. It grows best in water between 25 and 40 degrees Celsius. This makes tropical places like Kerala more vulnerable. How does it infect people? The amoeba enters the body through the nose, usually while swimming, diving, or bathing. From the nose, it travels to the brain. There, it destroys brain tissue and causes swelling. You cannot get infected by drinking contaminated water. The risk comes only when contaminated water enters the nose. In rare cases, people get infected while doing nasal rinsing with tap water. So what are the symptoms of primary amoebic meningoencephalitis? The symptoms of PAM usually appear within a few days of infection. In the early stage, the patient may experience headache, fever, nausea, and vomiting. As the infection worsens, they may develop a stiff neck, confusion, seizures, hallucinations, and eventually go into a coma. According to the US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, most patients die within 5 to 18 days after symptoms begin. In many cases, death happens in less than a week. So why is it so deadly? Doctors say there are two main reasons. First, the amoeba causes severe damage to brain tissue. Second, most medicines cannot reach the brain effectively. The main drug used is amphotericin B. Sometimes doctors add other medicines like rifampicin, meltofosine, erythromycin, or fluconazole. But none of these are guaranteed cures. In Kerala, doctors now use meltofosine with amphotericin B as soon as they suspect PAM. In India, miltefosine is mainly approved for visceral leishmaniasis or Kala Azar, which is also a fatal parasitic disease. Miltefosine works best if treatment starts within 24 to 48 hours. If the brain is already badly damaged, survival becomes very difficult. Another issue is late diagnosis. Since the disease is so rare and not widely known, doctors may mistake it for other brain infections, losing crucial time for treatment. Now let's check the case history of PAM. Naegleria fowleri has been found on every continent except Antarctica. The highest number of cases have been reported in the United States, Pakistan and Mexico. Other countries where PAM cases have been recorded include India, Australia, Japan, Thailand, Nigeria, Brazil and Cuba, among others. India's first case of PAM was reported in 1971. Kerala reported its first case in 2016. From 2016 to 2023, the state saw just 8 cases. But in 2024 alone, there were 36 cases and 9 deaths. The spike is linked to Kerala's many ponds and freshwater bodies, especially in districts like Malappuram, Kozhikode and Thrissur. Globally, PAM has a fatality rate of about 97%. Until July 2024, all cases reported in India had been fatal. But then, a 14-year-old boy in Kozhikode became the first Indian to survive the disease. He is also only the 11th known survivor in the world. So why is there a rise in cases in Kerala? Kerala has nearly 5.5 million wells and 55,000 ponds. People depend on them for daily water needs. They are like lifelines. But these freshwater sources also allow the amoeba to grow. Some infections happened while bathing in ponds, swimming pools, and even nasal rinsing during rituals. Authorities are trying to control the spread. Millions of wells have been chlorinated. Warning boards have been put up near ponds. Pools and water tanks are being regularly treated. But the challenge is chlorinating every pond is not possible. This is because fish would die. It's also impractical monitoring every village water source in a state of more than 35 million people. Experts say there are 2 main reasons for the rise in cases. First, more testing, which is helping detect cases earlier, and second, climate change. Higher temperatures and irregular rainfall create more stagnant, warm water where the amoeba thrives. So how can you stay safe from brain-eating amoeba? Doctors stress that prevention is far important than cure in the case of PAM. Here's how to reduce the risk of infection. Avoid swimming or bathing in warm, stagnant fresh water such as ponds or unchlorinated pools. Always use well-maintained, properly chlorinated pools. If you swim in natural water, consider using nose clips. For nasal rinsing, use only boiled and cooled distilled or sterile water. And if symptoms like fever, headache or confusion appear after freshwater exposure, seek immediate medical help. PAM may be rare, but when it happens, it is almost always fatal. The rise in Kerala is a warning that climate change and poor water management can create new health risks. Until science finds a cure, awareness and prevention are the best defense against the brain-eating amoeba. That's all in this edition of Connecting the Dots. We'll see you in the next episode with more raging issues. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us in the Delhi newsroom. This is Munmun Bhattacharya signing off. Take care and stay safe.